Hello, welcome to Leadership Deep Dive. I'm Monica Vegalam, and I am unsure if this is actually live. This is like a thing every time. Let's see. Sorry about that. Hang on 1 minute and we'll just get started. Okay, I'm just going to trust that this is live and so this is supposed to be like a Friday leadership deep dive, and I usually go live on Fridays. And but tomorrow there's a workshop I'm hosting, and hence you get a Thursday leadership deep dive. Okay, what are we talking about today? How to shift from nice person to a powerful leader, and this is a deep dive about power. This is kind of like a hard topic for me, I would say, because one of the default definitions of power that we have, like when we think about, when we say somebody is a powerful leader, what we mean is like our perception of it, or definition of it is that, oh, this person is kind of authoritative, everybody listens to them, and like the dictators come to mind, or even like certain politicians who don't assert power but like come across quite like a dominant personality come to mind, right? But I think that's a very limited definition of power, and we are going to get into what could be a wider or more expansive definition of power, and how there is power in each one of us, whether you're a woman or a man, or any other, if you identify with any other gender. Like there's like an essence quality of power that we all have, and how do we like touch that, express that, and embody that? So that's what today's discussion is about. I'll tell you a little bit, I'll start with a little bit of a story. um, and this might appear a little like bragging, I would say, but listen, I invite you to listen to this more from how can you embody this power rather than about me. So I was at a leadership intensive last week. So this is like a week long space where we where coaches and leaders get together, and then we kind of sit in a circle, bring certain issues or development aspects of development that or aspects of growth that we want, and then get coached on them by different people. So we are on like the initial 2 days, it's for people who are part of the leadership program, and the last 3 days is 3-4 days is for like general, like everybody, whoever wants to come. So in one of the like closed group sessions, there are like about 20 of us, highly experienced coaches, and then there are the leaders who are leading the group. And I raised my hand to coach somebody. And then initially, like I was seeing something for this person, and they expressed like a problem they're facing, and I said, okay, I'll support you, and I started coaching. And I was like, I was kind of like coaching the person, but there was this experience of like walking around eggshells. I was kind of being very careful with them. And then my coach interrupted me in that moment. And remember, this is like, we are like 20 people sitting in a circle, and I'm being watched by everybody. So already I'm a little nervous, like I'm on the edge. And also the feedback is such that they give feedback in the moment, so they'll tell you things missing or whatever, and then you play with that in the moment, and it can get like super super confronting. So this is kind of like a high gradient of practice. So my coach interrupted me and said, "What are you not saying to this person?" And I'm like, okay, that was like, there is something I wanted to say, but I didn't quite know what it was. Like, it was not something that I could articulate easily. Then I thought for a moment, took a breath, and like I said the thing, "Hey, you are doing this." And it felt good to say that, but at the same time there was so much fear about like hurting the other person. And then the person kind of resisted a little bit, like, I mean, what are you talking about? No, that's not true, whatever, whatever. And then I was like, I just couldn't like stand my ground. And then I turned to my coach and said, "Oh my god, this is so hard, how do I do this?" I was losing my pose a little bit. So then my coach was like, "Yeah, so what will you do next?" Confronted again. It's like, okay. So the coach is not really like agreeing to like this being hard, or anything, any other story that I have. And then I went again, I tried. And this time I was able to like stay with the person and coach them out of something that they are presenting, like a problem they are presenting. And like, I don't know, we coached for 5 to 10 minutes or something like that, and that session was over. Later, two men came from the group and said to me, "Hey Monica, that was so powerful, you're like such a powerful coach." I'm just looking here if everything is fine. Let's see. Okay. Yes, like, we are live. All right, sorry about that. And so two people came to me and said, "Hey, that was so powerful." And I was like, "What?" I mean, that was okay, I guess. And then, but then, like, this is my internal story, right? And then I was outside, I was like, "Hey, thank you so much," and that helps, and all of that. And then later, I was expressing to a friend that, what is this all about? Like, people are saying, there is like power, there's this side of power in me, and um, I don't understand that. And this friend, he's also a coach, and this friend goes like, "You don't see it?" That's so hilarious to me. And I was like, "No, I don't see it. What do you mean? What do these people mean?" So that's the thing about power. Like, we all have it. And I would assert that anybody who is kind of like at least in the position of wanting to be on a leadership track, or wanting to like work with people, whether you're a coach or a manager, or somebody who is like, who has this desire, like, I want to have impact, I assert that there is a side of you that's very powerful. And like, there is a quality in you that that shows power, and you might not be aware of it, or you might be hyper aware of it. And what that means is that there are these two sides of power. One extreme side is the default definition that I talked about earlier, which is, uh, when we think about power, it's like authority, dominance, like a police officer, or like this kind of like arrogant leader who doesn't listen to anybody, or who instills fear in people, and then from there is like very directive and like, do this, sort of a leader. That's like one side of power. And this is people kind of like, people at this end of power are, um, Assertive, number one, sure. And also they are kind of like they bulldoze people into control, like doing things their way. And if and on the other side, other spectrum, where people who have power kind of like shut it down, are people who come across like very nice, like super super nice, very amenable, very like approving, agreeable, and it's very super easy to talk to them, because you know that they're very approachable, and uh, they just give this nice person vibes. They smile easily. I'm not saying like any of these are wrong, but if somebody is all the time nice and kind of being never kind of being you know standing strong on what they think, or saying what they want to say, those are the kind of people who have the quality of power, but they have kind of shut it down. And I would say like I was this person a few years ago maybe. And also I used to like some people would give me feedback that hey, you need to be more assertive. And I'm sure like a lot of women leaders especially, and even men, they get this feedback that um, I want you to be more assertive. If you want this promotion, you should work on your assertiveness, say what you think, etc. And then on this other side of power, which is like the over expression of power, people get this feedback that hey, you're kind of always like my way or highway. What is that? Can you just um, why are you always so like unstoppable and controlling people, etc., etc.? And I assert that people who have this side in one context of their life have the other side, probably in like personal relationships, or maybe with their children, or with friends, or so, like the all the spectrums of power exist, but they are, rather than intentional, they are kind of leakages. They leak in certain unconscious ways. So when we talk about like powerful leaders, um, and people who want to be powerful leaders, there's a journey from transcending these two aspects of power. One is the extreme niceness, and the other is this extreme arrogance, authoritativeness, and finding like a bigger definition of power. Now I'm saying this very carefully, because when we think about, when we present two extremes of people, right? Here I'm saying niceness, and here the other side is the assertive boldness. People are like, yeah, both are not good. There is like an extremely fine balance in between those. If you are able to master that balance delicately, then you will like just get it right, and you will be the person who impacts people. That's not what I'm saying. In fact, the idea of this thin fine balance between these two extremes is also a way of keeping things under control. Like trying to control other people, or trying to like control yourself. So I am not talking about balance at all here. I'm talking about the meaning of power that you hold, and expanding that meaning, and embodying a different way of being, which shows in the way that you act, that you speak, and that you listen. And your way of embodying power would be like so unique and different from any other person's, and any other idea that you might have. So but people can tell, but when you like get to that place of expression, which is kind of like not really a place to get to, but when you, for the lack of words sake, let's say you get to that place of expression of your power, people can kind of say, oh my god, that person is powerful. And maybe that's what happened to me at that week long intensive, where people were reflecting to me that, oh, you are like petite or petite, I don't know. Basically, I'm like I'm a thin woman. If you see me, my build is kind of small. So petite, let's just call it that. Petite woman. uh, but they were saying you're like a lion in a small form or something like that. People kind of can see that about you, and they can see that you are able to kind of impact and move people in a certain way without really controlling them. So how do you get there? How do you get to that expression, that way of being? um, Hopefully I made the case for this is not about assertiveness, and this is not about like killing your niceness. Yes, be nice. Yes, it is needed. It is like, you want to be in relationship with people, yes. You don't want to be like this person who bulldozes people. And at the same time, you do have places where you assert yourself, you speak your mind, you speak your truth. And it's not just about just one of them, it's like the full expression of power that is really an ownership of who you are. That's what power to me means at this point. And there's this false idea that when you hire a coach or work on yourself, when you improve yourself, only if you get better, at some point in time there will be this magical place where everything will be rosy, everything will be happy, and people, you won't have any problems with people, and other people won't have any problems with you. And you will get what you want, you'll reach all your goals. There's like, if only X, then Y will happen. There's that magical idea. And that, like, this definition of power or embodying power can also fit into that. There is a risk of that happening. And what I want to point out here is that it's not a place to get to where, if you are like, uh, where you get like 10x better, 5x better or 10x better. It's a radically different approach. Your needs, emotions, experience, and impact won't go away. When you develop this whole sided power in you, you will have more ownership of your humanity, and that comes across as powerful. So you will be able to detect what you need as a human. If you are like, hey, I need connection right now with people, and I'm going to own that, and I am going to create that and generate that for myself, so that part of me can rest. Or I need to express my anger right now. I feel very angry, and I don't want to, like, and nobody else is responsible for that anger. Nor am I responsible for that anger. It's just there. And what I need right now is an outlet for it. And then you responsibly create an outlet for it, which is a healthy way. And extend that to like any emotions, right? We are human beings with a human experience where we want to belong, be accepted, we kind of want to feel seen, heard, and we want to be creative, we want to be um, kind of valued in our creativity, or at least like rewarded in particular ways for the things that we want. All of these things are not something to be erased away, but something to be owned and taken responsibility for creating for yourself, instead of like blaming the other person, blaming the system, blaming everybody else around you that they are not giving that to you, or blaming yourself or self criticizing that you are not getting that, you're unlucky, you're whatever the story might be. Those, like setting those stories aside and having like this complete ownership of your experience, I think that's when like this power unlocks. Hopefully you can see that this is like this is like different from the definition of assertiveness or women empowerment. Women empowerment, there's like it's a like I started associating women empowerment as a funny thing because there was this politician in India a few years ago. He's still there, but his campaign was basically women empowerment. And whatever TV interview he went to, people would ask him, what's on your agenda?" And he would say, "Women empowerment." And it just became like a running joke because people can tell he didn't really mean anything. He doesn't actually have a plan for women empowerment. And I mean, do women need to be empowered in India? Yes, lots of us could benefit from a better system, better society, and better, family systems where we are empowered totally. And at the same time, it can't just be like this intellectual idea that is not translated, and it's just like remains this romantic thing that everybody wants but nobody can actually implement. And it also comes into the culture and kind of becomes like this: oh, women are suppressed, and they need somebody to champion them and pull them out of the weeds, and they need to feel empowered, and then and henceforward they will have so much power that they will speak their mind, they will do whatever they want. And I mean, it's all good. Like, I am totally behind empowering people. Like, I do that for a living, basically. But the thing that is wrong with that is it almost instills this idea of women being dominant over men, or the nicer version of it is like women should be equal to men. And it is still in the conversation of who is better or who is not better, or who should be up, down, or equal. And all of that is still in the realm of who has uh, more power, or like this comparison game, which is actually not very empowering for people, because we would be constantly in the watch of our status. Right, like, am I being stepped over here? Am I being Do I need to speak up? Do I need to assert myself? There's all of this energy invested in making sure that I am equal to others, or I am better than others, or I should not suppress myself, etc., etc., etc. It's a huge power leak. And the conversation that we want to be in is completely about this. We are not talking about comparing ourselves to other people. It's more about ownership of who you are and what you want to do. What are your desires? What is it that what do you want your life to be like? And within how life is, as in there are certain things we cannot control, within that, how do I find my freedom within my commitments that feel like obligations at this point, and within the choices that I made, how do I empower myself? And how, like, what kind of decisions do I take going forward, so that I feel empowered and I feel like I am living my best life? That's the kind of empowerment that I'd be more interested in, rather than this whole comparison game. So my journey, I think, has been from a place I think I would say I was like a meek, like a timid, nice person most of the time, and that's the side most people saw, unless they're in my closer circle, where they would see like this control, where I'm like, no, you should do this, and why are you not doing that? You're dumb, or whatever that, like, I wouldn't actually say that you're dumb, but basically I'd be like, hey, you should totally be doing this, not that. There's a sort of um like throwing like an arrow to hit them directly, or expressing frustration about how somebody is not following what I say. So there's like a my way or a highway approach with like closer family members. There's almost like this dominance on them. And but outside, I'm like this very nice, easy to connect, approachable person. And the like both sides are kind of still there, because human, hello. But at the same time, when there is like ownership that, hey, in this situation when I'm really angry about how I have an idea and nobody is listening to that idea, I can own that anger. I own that frustration. It's not because somebody else is not listening. It's because I have a desire that I want to be seen, felt, heard, and accepted in that idea. And then when I own that, then I can responsibly kind of be like, oh, that anger is like I have a need to express that anger. I can express the anger in a healthy way, or express my frustration in a healthy way, let go of it. And then the creativity starts about, okay, what do they actually need, so that this we can work on this idea. Is this idea actually in service of what the situation that we are dealing with? So there's a levity that comes. And there is like um, belief that I might have, like, if I'm just like, okay, this is the right thing to do in this situation, then there is a power behind it, there is a ground and a stand behind that. So it means that power is really like, the definition I am proposing of power is this ownership of your own needs, emotions, experiences, history, your dreams, your desires, and the impact you are having in the moment. And when you have that ownership, then you can, from that place, you can want to and attempt to create something else, something different. So I also want to read this definition from my coach's book. This book is called Who Do You Think You Are? And this is such a great book. Basically, it has all these like definitions of essence qualities like power, love, leadership, generosity, ease, curiosity, brilliance, connection. And what we do is we kind of like, if you're a person that naturally has a quality of connection, we learned, just because we are social beings, we want to be accepted, belonged in a tribe, like initially in our family, then our peer group, then like our workplace. We learn to be a certain way. And then what we do is like, we kind of over express our connection or under express our connection. So people who over express, might be people who over express connection, might be people who are who can occur as like needy, or somebody who just who's an extrovert, who just kind of inserts themselves into other people's homes, whatever. I love those people personally, who just come and just sit down and hang out with me. um, That's a side topic, but basically who kind of like overexpress. And then there's the people who underexpress connection, who are kind of introverts, shy, and they really want to connect with people, but they're just scared. And we do this over and under because there is like this fear that is keeping us in a comfort zone. That becomes our habit. We develop certain programmed habits of how we express connection, how we express our power, how we express our brilliance, how we express our creativity, etc., etc. So then the journey is less about, a different way of being, but more about unlearning those programmed habits. So this book kind of gives like an overview of all those different ways of being that we have. And I want to read to you about power. So, people of power, what is possible? The possibility you represent for all of us lies in fully expressing who you are while simultaneously being responsible for the impact of that expression. When you begin doing your real work, taking ownership of your impact and cleaning up any mess you create, intended or otherwise, you discover a level of power that goes deeper than mere strength. By cleaning up your mess, what that means is like when we express our power, when we say, hey, this project, I think needs to be done this way, or you are doing this which is blocking us, or just kind of like putting those observations, what happens is like people get hurt. And over time we see that, people get hurt and they disconnect from us, or they're no longer in relationship with us, or we become like this person who's like, I don't care whatever other people react with, I'm just gonna do what is needed in the space. You become this person who is kind of detached and disconnected. What embodying ownership or power means is that uh, you we always have an impact for how we show up. There is a consequence to everything. Any decision you take, any way that you speak, or anything that you do has a consequence. And instead of being apologetic about the consequence, or instead of being never looking at the consequence or the impact of that, whether that's intentional or unintentional, who we learn to be is just kind of over index on, well, let me say that differently, not instead of. So when we have these two shadows of power, one side people become these people, how they become is like they apologize a lot. Women are told, don't apologize, don't say sorry so many times. That's the thing that they get, uh, because they are kind of like, can i can I do this, and oh, I'm sorry. They say sorry for like, just coffee going, or coffee spilling, or canceling a meeting. There's like no ownership there. Hey, I'm choosing it. Instead it's like, I have to do this and I am sorry. So there's that side, and then there is the other side where there's like fire hosing, bulldozing, and never acknowledging the impact. And what this book says here is, you express your power and then be responsible for the choices that you made, the emotions that come up, and also the impact that you create. An example of this is like owning your arrogance. Like, yeah, there's a part of me that's pretty arrogant, and sometimes I can be an arrogant person. And if somebody says that, hey, you said that and that hurt me, then you clean that up with them. Like, hey, what do you need in this moment? And how did that land with you? Like, getting all of that from them, like getting the impact that you had on them, and then cleaning up with them, so that your relationship is kind of repaired and it's clear and clean, so that you can start working together again. That's not the default. We kind of like, there's that thing and then we operate on top of it, which then leads us to, walking on eggshells around people, um, or like ignoring the disconnection that's in the space. So you take ownership of your impact along with everything else that I spoke about, like the needs, emotions, experiences, choices, and then you clean up. That way, you start trusting and fine tuning how to be in relationship with people rather than how do I be more powerful. Like these are like two different conversations. So then, when you are more about how do I express myself, stand my ground as power in relationship with other people, there is a heart opening. You can be both heart and edge, and together you can start influencing and impacting people while not losing yourself, while not gaslighting yourself or anything like that. So it says the more you integrate power with responsibility, the more you model for the world that it's okay to make mistakes and that there is no mess we cannot make right. In so doing, you develop a deep affinity and trust for yourself and deepen your intimacy and connection with others. You are the possibility of power wielded benevolently with an open heart. So, power that comes with responsibility, that comes with an edge for standing your ground, and with a wide open heart is such a rare thing, and it's such a precious thing for people. And I really respect and admire leaders who are able to like be in that. And that's the I think that's the next level for women who keep getting this feedback that they need to be assertive, or even men. It's This is not probably about like gender stereotype, but and also those people who are who overexpress their power and they're like highly critical of other people. The possibility for them is to kind of like open their heart a little bit more rather than be that edgy person who dumps reflections on people all the time. All right, so some practices. How do you start touching that power within yourself, and how do you start owning it and expressing it? Uh, first thing I recommend is like anger and forgiveness practices. This means lot of people who are on the niceness side of the spectrum are there because they, like I have observed, is because they have really shut down their anger, and like um, they have seen other people express anger and they're like, I'm never going to be that person, and they just don't allow anger in their experience. But anger is what brings clarity. Anger tells you what your needs are, and anger communicates what your boundaries are. Now, this doesn't mean you go and dump your anger on people. You take responsibility for your anger and move it. And the practice here is like uh, express, especially to touch the powerful side of you. You have to take on like two kinds of anger practices. One is getting in touch with that part of yourself that's a victim. Like the part of you that's like, you hurt me, you keep hurting me always, life always goes like this, life is uh, and these kinds of people are always going to behave this way with me, and why am I the unluckiest person? And like that part of you, the victimized part of you who is at effect or victimized by others. Like you get in touch with that part and express that victim anger in a healthy way. Like um, I don't know, express anger at a pillow, go on a drive and express that. So you start moving that energy, stuck energy. And then there is the second anger practice, which is expressing the dominant part of you. So you see, these are like two sides of the spectrum, right? And the dominant part of you is like, how dare you do this? How dare this person does this? All the things that people have wronged you for, and all those other people who have criticized you in your life, and all the dominant, all the people who have not let you um, express your freedom, or like your opinions, or let's see, basically not just not let just didn't accept you as you were. So you want to be like, so this part of you would be like looking down upon them, which is basically the same other side of the same thing, which is with this dominant anger is also a little bit of a victim uh, flavored anger, but they will occur differently. So having practices to get in touch with those two parts of you and expressing them and getting really into what do those parts of me need, and how can I be with them, how can I accept them, and how can I take more ownership of them rather than blaming other people or circumstances around us about it. And the second, so that's like the first one, anger practices. And second practice is forgiveness. um, there's a saying that I'm totally going to butcher right now. It's basically like, holding all this resentment is like taking poison and then wondering why. So taking a pill of poison yourself and then wondering why the other person is not dying. So holding on to all this resentment and hurt and heartbreak is kind of like that. It poisons you and doesn't, basically, and makes no almost no difference to the person that you're holding it against. So forgiveness practice is a big thing that will give you so much more freedom. So there are many ways that people do forgiveness, and I have certain tools. And if you want to talk to me about them and get some tools, let me know, send me a DM, and I will send you some practices and tools that you can use to start forgiving all the people who have kind of who you hold something against, like energy against. So that's the second one. And then the third one is to start cleaning up your impact. So like, share something with people, and then kind of getting curious, how did that land with you? Like, be almost err on the side of having a messy relationship with someone rather than no relationship. And then set the relationship in such a way that hey, I really want to kind of have a relationship with you where I can practice expressing certain things, and if that upsets you, will you please let me know? So then have that agreement with them, and coaching relationship is a great place to do this. And I offer this space to like almost all my clients. Like, you can say anything to me, you can come and be a victim or angry or whatever, and then we will clean that up together. So create that safe playground for yourself, like choose a friend. But usually people don't have the capacity to do this with you, and we coaches are kind of trained. We kind of are in the constant practice of letting go of blaming other people for our experience, so we remain clean and pristine for our clients, so that we can offer that space for them. Similarly, you can kind of, if you're not able to work with a coach at this point, like choose a community where you can practice this. I have a great recommendation. Again, reach out if you would like to practice that way. And or if that's not possible, have like a friend who you have this agreement with and start practicing. um, Give me a moment. That was a good sneeze. Maybe I'm catching on cold. Who knows? Hopefully not. So yeah, have a relationship and choose a messy relationship instead of no relationship. Such a tightly held relationship can be a big gift to kind of finally start being yourself. Like, you will feel so much freedom, you will start feeling that empowerment or that power that we are talking about here. Because language is like, only it can only give us so much. I can try to describe this in many different ways, but until like you experience it yourself, it won't click for you. So start like arrange a relationship like that, and start cleaning up your impact. You can do this with your partner, with your friend, or or actually like hire a coach so that you can start to express that part of yourself. And what this does is like, it will free you up to take on more responsibility and expand your life so that you can start dealing with many different types of people, instead of like unconsciously cutting off some people, because that person kind of gives off the vibes of this one guy I dated years ago, who was kind of a, um, I don't know, fill in the blank with a bad word. So I don't want to deal with this person, or this guy looks so arrogant, so I would rather avoid them. We kind of unconsciously do that all the time. So instead of that, you start expanding your circle a little bit and start opening up to dealing with all kinds of personalities and take on more responsibility, and that's how your impact starts to increase. And even in one on one relationship, like the people that you have relationship with already, as you start being more responsible for your needs, your emotions, your experiences, and the things you speak, what happens is there is like a deeper connection and intimacy in that relationship. And when that is present, it's people kind of start investing in you. They will follow you, or they will be like, I can totally trust this person and I want to engage with them. So that will be the side effect of owning your power and really embodying your power. Okay, that's all I have for today. And if this was helpful, please let me know. Send me a DM. And if you are kind of, if something struck for you in this whole conversation, please let me know, because, this is like a one-way conversation. I have no idea who is watching, who is not watching. And I can be like, there are periods when I didn't do these lives at all, because I'm like, probably nobody is watching them, and probably I'm making a huge mess and speaking really badly. And then I wouldn't do them for a while. But what I can own in that is that I actually want, feedback. And then right now I'm empowering this in a way that, if even if one person in remote corner of the world somewhere watches at least like 5 minutes of this video, and then something shifts for them, I'm happy with that. So that's how I'm empowering it. But if you watch this and you are like, this had this kind of impact on me, I would love to hear, I would love to connect with you. And if you're interested in diving deep into this work, reach out, and we can have a conversation about what you want to kind of play with and develop in your leadership. And oh, the final thing, tomorrow there's a workshop about creating leaders, and where you can come and start. This is a container my fellow coach and colleague Alex Campbell and I set up, so people can start, playing with certain aspects of themselves that they never expressed. You will come, we'll give you like a foundation of how to have a growth conversation or how to have a powerful conversation with somebody, and and get feedback. And we are training ourselves in giving feedback in a way that empowers people, so we are practicing the art of feedback. So we can kind of at least like assure you that this whatever feedback you get is going to empower you a little bit more, 10% more, or how much ever, and hopefully more than 10%. But come, experiment, play with other people, come coach, learn how to have powerful conversations, and how to like impact people, how to influence people, how to learn and coach other people, and get feedback, play and practice. So that is tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific. Please convert whatever time zone you are on. And I really hope that if you found this conversation helpful, you come there, because you are going to love that as well. And it's just a lot of fun. All right, that's all I have for today, and I will be back next week. Have a great weekend if you're not seeing me tomorrow. And that's all. See you.